looks like we're up. There's plenty of disruption here tomorrow today. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All the usual suspects. Good morning, good morning. Back at the normal workstation today. Okay, it's going to be 2 jobs today. We are going to start the next print with a brand new piece of wood, but that'll happen after 30 or 40 minutes or so. Before that, I've got a chore that I have to finish. I've got a chore. I have to do some embossing. Got to do some embossing on a print that I can't show you. Paper is out. Not only is it out, she's busy already. She's been busy there for an hour and a half already. Ishikawa-san, she's printing, doing the first batch of next year's first print. I got her paper out at around 6 o'clock. The alarm went off at 6 or so. I was a good boy, staggered up there, got her paper out. But she showed up anyway at around 6:30, so it wouldn't have been defrosted. Busy, busy today. Every day is busy here. We're crazy these days. November, Cameron gave me the numbers for November, and it's another record-breaking month. Just it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Okay, we have embossing here this morning. It's going to take about 30 minutes or so. After that, we'll do some carving. So, construction going on. There's 2 construction jobs happening. I know one, there's a truck just parked to the left of the camera. They're unloading all the framing material. It's a truck full of 2x4s, the aluminum type of 2x4s. They're doing all the framing next door. Then in the distance, as you can see, the old udon restaurant in the corner is now under major construction, and they're leaving basically nothing but the skeleton. And the guys this morning, the truck came about 7 o'clock or so. Guy idled it, went to sleep, and there's gas pouring out of the truck and whatever. So a few minutes ago, I had to go and ask him, please shut it off, because we're working here. So it's a dark day. Those lights are automatic. There's a sensor. You can play with it, actually. When you know where the sensor station is, actually, you can see it. See where the light post is there? In front of the wrapped building. To the light post, there's a little brown box with stickers all over it. There's a window on that box, and that's the sensor. And you can play with it. We do this for fun sometimes. Just whatever, standing outside. There's people all over the place. You go and stand in front of that box and lean your bum against the window. And 20 seconds later, poof, all the streetlights come on. So. Yeah, Tokyo Skytree has been stolen overnight. Stolen. It was so beautiful the other night, you know. When did I go? I went to visit the knife maker. What day was that? It was a stream day, right? Thursday, Friday, Monday? Monday or Tuesday. Aoyama and I went to visit one of the knife makers who's making stuff for us. And we stayed all afternoon, and it got dark by the time we came home. So for fun, I got off the train about the station on the other side of the Skytree. I got off the train to walk home, get some exercise in your deal. You know, like commuters, get off the train at a station early. So I walked towards the Skytree, and it was a beautiful clear night, winter night, and it was so sharp and clear. Then when I got past the Skytree, looking back on it, full moon was sitting up there on top. Okay, I need to figure out a registration here, because the block is for the registration of the Great Wave. Carving Hokusai, Design Hokusai, Carving David, Printing Kubota-san. This is the one we use for the Great Wave. But today's print I'm doing on it is a different print. So it's got a different registration. So we have to, I can use the same one here. Oops, not there. It's going to go about here. I didn't mean it was a secret, just I meant I can't show you because, you know. Twitch rules and common sense rules. It's not a secret, it's just simply okay, let's give this a go. Baron, check. Paper, check. The print is doing well in our shop, but not as well as it should, but it's because, you know, we can't really show it too well. So what are we going to do here today? I know, yeah. What's the best way to do this? I'm not sure. Best way to do it is not to do it, but I still have to get this work done. Still have to get the work done. So what should we do here? We find an angle that works. The camera's moving by itself again, is it? The camera knows what it wants to see. Is that the idea? All right, that'll do us, right? Sorry about that. Okay. Just, I have no choice. This has to be done this morning because they've got to go to Ome. There's people waiting for these things. We've got on our last, our final FedEx box is leaving in a couple of days for America, and I've got to get this stuff into it. So. Are they selling stuff out of their van? I don't think so. It's all construction happening at the bar next door. My God, they're spending a fortune on it, you know, incredible fortune. Multiple people make a suggestion and it gets missed. I mean, like I said, right now, Dave is missing something, you mean? Use the Street View camera to cover more of the screen. Okay, I guess we could do that. You mean like this? Yeah, I think we're okay now, no problem. It'll be over in a few minutes anyway. It was funny speaking about this print that we're embossing this morning. When I woke up this morning, I looked through the emails from the orders and stuff that came in last night, and somebody ordered a triple pack. He ordered 3 of these. We can't do that with the Great Wave. We get requests all the time for people asking for multiple copies of the Great Wave. But because we're running a big mailing list, a big waiting list, we can't do that. But this one has no waiting list. We're managing to keep up with the printing on this. Did I get the kimono sleeves from last stream? Actually, I haven't read the last stream yet. I'm sorry. Was there something going on? Comments about those little kimono offcuts? I haven't looked at the last chat. We're in a real hairy situation right now. We're having fun. Things are going well, but it is extremely busy. Extremely busy here right now. We've got the preparation for next year's series, the post office changes, and of course a huge year-end sales rush happening. Shipping craziness. So we are just, all of us are, we're just running non-stop. So I'm sorry, no, I didn't have time to read the chat the other day. Well, also, you're talking about those envelopes being the sleeves of the kimonos. I'm not actually quite sure that's what they're intended to be. The whole thing that we saw, there were little tiny presentation packages that I think would have been given to customers. Here's a little freebie with your kimono order, I think. They were made in the shape of the package that the kimono itself, when the kimono itself is delivered, it comes in a folded white flat envelope. And these folded white flat envelopes were imitation of that size and shape. Not size, but they're an imitation of that shape that a kimono comes in, with the same little round window on the front so you can see the fabric inside when you're looking in your kimono drawers at home. You need that little window to see which kimono you're looking for. So these were little gifties that were given to people who had bought something, I think. And they were, as it seems, it looked like they may have been made from offcuts of kimono catalogs, that's not for sure, or they may have been made up just especially for that. Woodblock prints could have been made just for that purpose. And the point was it was a little freebie, but it was also sort of usable. They were envelopes. You could have actually used them to give money and things. And the main centerpiece was it was in the shape of a kimono with folded over parts. The left part of a kimono folds over, right part folds over. It looks like it hangs down. So the central part of that thing actually contains the sleeves of a kimono. The part that had the collar. It had a collar and it folded around and fell down the front. And that's actually the collar, quote, sleeves that folds over. Then in addition to the central piece, they included 2 little tiny free square envelopes made up of whatever was left over of the original woodblock print. I don't have them here. I took them back upstairs, so I can't pull them out and show you. I'm sorry. So. You're explaining well. Thank you very much. There's new people here. Good. Thank you. This job will be over here in about 15 minutes, and then we'll get on to some carving. We'll start a brand new fresh block with a brand new key line. And it will be the print, it's the 5th print in this year's series. I finished the first already. The second one has been finished carving by Chon-san. The third one is in carving at the moment by Kawasaki-san. She'll be finished quite soon. The fourth one is still tracing. It's going to be Chon-san's job. So he took it and he traced it for himself. The 5th one, it was traced for me already by Dei-chan. So I'll be starting to carve today on the 5th print in next year's subscription series. So we'll get a peek at the design for that. Will the embossing disappear without the moistening? Not really. I could do this. I could just put it on and bang it down and it would work. It would be, whatever, 95% just as effective. But a little touch of moisture at the front, or even better, if this had been done while the paper was still moist for the printing, even better. That's the way we do it for our monthly subscription prints upstairs. The girls do the embossing as the last stage and then dry it. And that really sets it nice and strong. But even now, this embossing is not going to go anywhere. It's going to be here for as long as this print is going to last. Absolutely. And again it says, design e Katsushika Hokusai, Hori Buru David. This group says Suri Kubota Kenichi, the 3 men who made this together. Hokusai, the designer, me, the carver, and Kubota-san, the printer for this batch. Oh, we're going to have a peel. Yes, we're going to have a peel, and it's with my own good gampi. In fact, did I mention that to you? Chon-san and I have been at odds about this. I swear by the kind of gampi we're using and selling here, the 5 momme weight, because it peels off so nicely. And he uses a different kind of gampi. And he had used his different kind for the block he gave me to carve. And I had complained that it didn't peel off well. And he says, you're just not doing it right. And we're laughing about this back and forth. How much glue to use and whatever, et cetera, et cetera. Story moves forward. They're doing test printing on number 2 up there now. And Chon-san carved this with his own gampi and his own glue system. And they're having trouble on the key block because the ink is not going in a couple of places. And we sat there, me and Dei-chan, the test printer, and Chon-san. And she's saying, look, I just can't get a good color here. I look at Chon-san and I know exactly what he's done. He's used too much wood glue when he pasted it down. And there it is, right in front of us, all 3 of us. We couldn't deny this. So he has finally come round, and he's prepared the one for me here with my choice of gampi. I'm catching only scraps of this conversation. Katakana name, yes, my name is on here in katakana. It wouldn't make any sense to try and put English letters sideways with all the rest of this. Everything about this print is Japanese and the Japanese people. So of course, so I put my name, Buru Davido. Buru Davido. My name is on here in katakana. Well past halfway here, about 15 or so left, I think, not sure. We've had our share of concrete drilling from next door. You know, they were putting up conduit for pipes, so they were drilling into the concrete all along the wall. And our building is smacked against theirs. There's no space between the two buildings. So all during this last week or so now, there's been periods when it's been staggeringly, stunningly noisy in here. You know. I don't know what their plan is today. All these aluminum things are going in, whether they're going to get bolted to the wall or not as well. So it could be still quite noisy here. I don't know. Does the construction crew know about the street cam? I don't know. I didn't specifically tell them. I went out there this morning and said we were broadcasting from 8. The truck was idling. He had the truck running. So I asked him to please turn the truck off, and he did straight away. Says he turning it back on. Is it the same truck, different truck? Should I turn off the sound outside? I don't even know. Which one is which? Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's leaving. Do tell, he's leaving. Put it back on. I thought they were going to be unloading all that stuff. Maybe we scared him off. I don't know. I assumed it was a truck full of stuff for their construction. Maybe they think I like watching it for some stupid reason or whatever. I'll go and chat with the foreman after we're finished. It's always different people, you know. I spoke to the restaurant owner a few weeks ago, but now that the construction has started, it's all different people. It's the electrical crew, then the plumbing crew, then this. So they're always different people here every day. They don't know me, I don't know them. Japan has been hit hard by COVID. It could explain why the street looks quiet. That's not how it's happening here. That's not how it's happening here. Japan thinks it's been hit hard, and the numbers are what they are. But it hasn't affected life at all. This district is crazy busy in the evenings. The bars are all full. It's quiet right now because it's 8:30 on a cold, chilly morning is why it's quiet. We haven't been hit hard at all. There's a number I saw the other day. There's one day last week. I don't remember the exact numbers. I'm sorry, I can't quote them, but they're right in feeling. There was a report from America that 2,123 people had died the day before, something like this. We just passed that number for the whole thing ever since it started. And as we mentioned on one of these streams last week, a very, very interesting report. Japan this year is showing fewer deaths than a normal year. And it's clear why. In a normal year, I think it's upwards of 10,000 people, between 10 and 20,000 elderly people die of flu in a normal year. And this year, that number is staggeringly decreased. So although, of course, we have COVID sick people and we have COVID deaths, overall, because of the isolations, because of the masks, because of the taking care of this, the overall number of people dying is showing a statistical drop this year beyond what's expected from a normal year. So it's really kind of bizarre. There's people who are alive today that wouldn't have been alive if this pandemic hadn't happened. It's really, really funny. Not funny, I mean funny, strange funny. Well, Japan's population is about 1/3 of the U.S. We have like 125 million people, and America has 300 some plus million people. So we've got only 1/3 of the population. So you wouldn't expect the numbers to be the same. There's also something else happening here in Japan about the virus, fighting the virus. The same situation is happening here that is sort of happening in America, in that who's in charge here? The central government is making some rules and some things, and then the regional governments are trying to make their rules and some things. And there's a kind of a conflict between who is in charge of what's doing what. The central government has got this campaign to try and encourage travel and restaurants to support the economy, and regions where the thing is quite worse. Hokkaido has more trouble than other ones. So the who's in charge is a question that is now in play. And this is where it gets political, because the Tokyo governor, Koike-san, and the central government do not get along well at all. And who's in charge and who can make the decisions and what do you want us to do is now, it started to become a political football in the last few days here. About 10 left. Sorry about this. Not so interesting this morning, but I got to get this done. I have no choice. This job has to be done. I'm sorry. Seeing the garbage pile that they've got out there reminds me of when we did our renovation here with our garbage. Dave here learned a lot about Japan that week when we threw away our first garbage pile from renovating the shop here 7 years ago. Up to that time, my only knowledge of garbage had been consumer garbage. You know, you get your stickers from the city hall, you sort it out, you put your cans and bottles here and there, blah, 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 blah. Construction garbage is a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different ballgame. Back in the bad old days, decades and decades ago, it was run by, I think like in New York, garbage disposal or something, used to be run by like the mafia or East Still or whatever, I don't know. In Japan, the garbage disposal used to be the domain of semi-underworld characters or whatever. And I used to live in Hamura, out near the outskirts of Tokyo. And you go hiking in the woods and stuff, and there's crap everywhere. Every little road gets to a smaller road, gets to a little path, goes up into the mountains, and there's construction garbage everywhere. It was a real awful, awful thing. Down near the river, there's a park near the river, construction garbage. We're talking 40 years ago or so. This does not happen now at all. And over the intervening years, it has been really, really, really super tightened up. Tightened up to the point now where, like these guys have, they've got this garbage ready. They have had to purchase a license, and we had to do this. We had to get licensed to dispose of construction garbage. I went to the police office, got my certification, I was okay, not a criminal, take that down to City Hall, get our license. And once we had the license, we then phone up a commercial garbage disposal company. They come, they check my license, they check my ID, all this kind of stuff, take it, and pay. My God, it's expensive. Whatever, the pile they've got there, it's $100, somewhere around there, 8,000 yen, 1,000 yen to get rid of that. And they've bagged it, and they've already bagged it. It will be like metal bolts and brackets will be in one bag. Knocked down pieces of gypsum plaster will be in another bag. It still is all separated. No, it's both. So you're saying they charge big money, that means there's going to be more illegal dumping. It's not. I know. What they also did was, of course, they cracked down on the dumping, and they threw tons of people in jail. They go through the garbage, find an envelope, find the address, come back, and you're in handcuffs. I'm not going to tell you that there isn't anymore, that it doesn't exist anymore, but it's way, 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 way down from what it used to be. It used to be rampant, and now it's rare, and when it does happen, they're all over it. It's also part of the general crackdown on gangsterism that's happened here for the past couple of decades. Any business that those guys are into has come under much stronger scrutiny and control. I'm not complaining about this. I'm just describing what it is. It costs us a lot of money to get rid of our garbage, but whatever, we know. Got to be done. So is that the same truck coming back that came back? Or is it a different truck? I don't recognize what's going on here. Also, too, the garbage, we are doing this in Tokyo. I mean, out in the boonies or out in Hokkaido where there is lots of countryside and mountains and whatever, where you don't know. But here in Tokyo, of course, there isn't any place to throw garbage anyway. When we were doing construction, the bigger loads, when we had really ripped out the whole building and we had a huge pile, we called a special company to come and pick it up. But after that, in fact, when we did the renovation for the first floor, we didn't rip out the walls, so it was just the floor and stuff like that. So we didn't have so much garbage, so we took it ourselves. We still have our license. It's an ongoing license. We took the garbage to a place called Global, whatever. And their facility is down near the river. It's where the Arakawa River and the Sumida River split and run parallel for a while. And between the two rivers, it's too dangerous to put housing in there. So that's where there's a bunch of lesser, not so attractive businesses and stuff. And the garbage collection place is down in there. So we rented a little truck, filled it with our garbage, and drove it down there. And did our license thing at the office, paid our money. He says, okay, drive into the yard. We drive into the yard. It's not a tipping truck, it's just a driving into the yard. And the guys come in like locusts. There's just 10, 12, 15 guys just waiting in the yard. We drive our truck in. The girl from the office gives them the flag. Bang, they just come in that truck like locusts, and they pull it off and throw the stuff. And their yard is all surrounded. Metal, wood, gypsum, blah, 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 blah. And they're standing on the truck, throwing the stuff out to different corners of the yard where other guys are sorting and stacking it. And the truck is empty in seconds, including Aoyama-san's backpack. I think I told you this story before. Aoyama-san had put his backpack in the back of the truck, and some guy grabbed it and threw it. And it turned out it was full. It was about $2,000 in it, and 200,000 yen in it. We were going to buy some construction supplies, and the guy found it and brought it back to us. Says, "Hey, I don't think this is garbage, right?" And we're like, "No, that's not garbage. Thank you very much." Are construction workers paid well in Japan? I know. I have no deep knowledge of the subject, but I do know that they are desperately short of construction workers. As part of the general decrease in population here, we're going to all industries, many industries are having trouble finding staff. And that particular one, construction, does seem to be really short of people. And all kinds of projects all around the country are postponed and delayed because there's not enough workers to do the job. I understand that they're normally paid or normal and upper. But I have no specific details about it. What was that? Something, a piece of giant steel? What was that that took off just then? Their door was open yesterday. I saw inside. It looks like they're starting at the back, which I guess is where the kitchen environment is. So they were digging a sump. They had been jackhammering out They'd built some kind of sump, so I guess that's under the sinks and the stoves and stuff. It's an insanely expensive job. A big beam. I don't know, would that be part of the kitchen or something? I don't know, no idea. Maybe there are some very heavy appliances and stuff coming in that need support for them, I don't know. Well, there must be another garbage truck is already here, is it? Oh no, it's going in the same truck at the front, yeah. So the same truck that's unloading, they're going to take it down to the garbage dump. So, okay. I can sit here and watch this all day. That's more fun than the work, obviously. So. How many more we got here? What's going on? 6, 7, 8, height. Somebody keeps watching the camera, does he? You know, when I'm finished here, when I'm finished today, I'll go out and chat with the guy and explain what's going on. You know, he might assume that we're monitoring him to make sure they do nothing wrong or something. You know, of course, there's nothing like that going on, but he doesn't know that. Why is there a camera watching us? I'll go and chat with him after we're finished. The plan for opening next door is they had planned to be open near the end of January. And when I chatted with one of the owners, the young lady who was one of the owners or operators of the new business that's coming in, I'd asked her what her plan was for opening at the end of the year to show for the party season, and she said, no, it's impossible. They had so many delays getting it. So like we said before, they just couldn't get the workers for it. So she said, I know, end of January was their target for being open. They're not worried about it. It's a long, many year process. You know, these are people who live in the neighborhood. These are locals. It's not some outside company coming in to show everybody how it's done. This is a local family doing this. So they're in this for the very, very long run. Did you see that story in the New York Times last night about that? A Japanese business that's a little tea shop that's been in business for 1,000 years. A tea shop, a mochi shop. They're in Kyoto. They're a little shop selling mochi. And they've been at it for over 1,000 years. It's funny in that story too, there was one thing that really made me smile, and this is so Japan, so Japan. Well, maybe it's everywhere else too, I don't know, whatever. They have only one product, mochi. You know, it's pounded mochi, and maybe it's wrapped with it. They probably change it during the season. In spring, it'll probably have a cherry leaf wrapped and something else, whatever it changes. And then you can also get drinks. You can get anything you want as long as it's tea. It was great. So the menu hasn't changed in 1,000 years. And I get it. They know who their customers are. They know what their customers want. You know. So. I have mixed feelings about that. You know, Dave's running his own business here, and it's a new business. We've just started this, you know, whatever, in my lifetime we've started this, you know. And we get this joke about this. Iwano-san, the guy we buy our paper from, he's Kyudaime, 9th generation with that name. Iwano Ichibe-san. Actually, he wasn't born Iwano Ichibe. He was born Iwano something else. I forget what it is. And when his father died, he took the same first name, Ichibe. So he is now the 9th generation of Iwano. He's now Iwano Ichibe Kyudaime. When we think about our business here, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not number 9 or number 99 or whatever. So the joke here is this is Mokahankan. I am a David Buru Ichidaime. And of course, I will also be the last. I know I have no sons, and I have no idea what will happen to the business. My daughters are not interested, of course. Sensible. So the joke is I'm whatever, Ichidaime. And it will die there. You know. But if we were really trying to do this the Japanese way, I would adopt Aoyama-san. He would become my son. He takes the business, and then they go from there, you know. We are actually probably not going to do that, probably. Grandson, Sue, who knows? You should say granddaughter to show. Maybe, who knows? I have 3 grandsons and 1 granddaughter, and I am not in any way, even remotely thinking that one of them is going to take my business, of course. Every now and then my daughters do say this, you know. My first daughter, he says, Alex, he can take over your business, Dad. And like he's interested, not. Okay, that's done. That's done. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. I'm actually not finished with these. They've got to be shipped to Ome today, and before they can go, I've got to go through them all still, one at a time carefully. There are going to be a few places where I need to pull out bark, chiri. Because there's so much open space on this print, her body, the open space, there's going to be bark scraps in there. So these I'll be spending a bunch of time this morning under the microscope, going through these one by one, pulling out little bark scraps before they go out into the world. What's the little rectangle on my Baron? I don't know. This is from the print party room. It's a piece of tape. I don't know. The black tape originally, when Goto-san, this is a Murasaki Baran, and when Goto-san sells these, he puts a label on showing what the number is and what's inside and stuff like that. And why there's a bit of green tape on top of it, I don't know. It's just from the party room. I know the barons here. It's funny. And when Dave was running by himself, with no other printers here, I had half a dozen barons, and they didn't need numbering or labeling because I know what they are. They're independent items. They're all very different. It's like your kids. You don't need to have a name tag on your kid's shoulder. You remember their names. But when we started hiring people, and there were girls coming in and out, and people doing this and that and printing, and they didn't know what the barons were, which one is the strong one, the weak one, the lighter one, whatever. So at that time, we set up a system. One of the ladies figured it out, and she put a number in each one, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they had a chart on the wall. Number 1 was the most delicate one, number 16 was the big, strong, rough one, stuff like that. So we did number them at one point, and then we split them up. Half of them stayed in Ome, half of them came to Asakusa. So there's a remnant of a numbering system. But you don't need to number your own tools. You know what they are. Yes, the Baron for green. Yeah, John, that's like not quite how it works, but whatever, okay. We did, the brushes are different. The brushes have to be done by color. There's two theories. This Numabe-san, one of the printers we hire, he's of the idea that he's got a box full of brushes, soft ones, large ones, medium ones, and he doesn't care what color they are. And what he does is after he's done a printing job, he takes his brush to the sink, actually throws it in a bucket of water beside his printing bench first, underwater to soak it. Then at the end of the day, he takes his brushes to the sink and he washes them totally saturated with soap and soap and soap and rinse and soap until there's no trace of color left. So he will use the same brush today for red, tomorrow for blue, the next day for pink. We don't do it that way here because I think that's way, way, way too much wear and tear on the brushes. We have brushes for color groups. We have brushes that will be for red, pink, whatever, maybe a brown, red, another brush for blue, something like this. We would never use a yellow brush for blue because you know where it's going to go. And we don't wash them that thoroughly. We hold them under the tap so that the water hits the hair, with the idea being that the wood part doesn't get wet. It does sometimes get wet, but we don't soak and saturate them. And the Numabe-san was here a while ago. He was here taking some video about sizing. He and his son want to learn about sizing, so they joined me for a sizing session last month. And we were talking about brushes at the same time. And he looked at mine and the fact that we had them all color-coded. Why do you need to do that? And I explained, because I don't want to moisten them. He says, hey, you got to get them clean. I said, no, you don't, because if you do, they're going to split. And long story short, all the brushes in my rack that we had upstairs, none of them were split on the wood. And his brushes, they're split all over the place, soaking, drying, soaking, drying, soaking, drying. So I'm not, he does it his way, we do it our way, but I think we're okay. So long story short, we have brushes for different color groups. Barons, no. Okay, let's do some work. What do I need here today? I need that, I need this, I need this. What's this message? Thanks for the S&T, the making a woodblock print. Got a copy from eBay yesterday. Good. Showing, that reminds me. I know the making a woodblock print series. Go to the collection. Somebody now. Go to the Mokohankan collection. Go to the search box, and you'll see a genre button. Go to the genre button and check the process of making woodblock prints. A new one is in there. You will just do what I say. Just do what I say. There's a new process of printing in the collection, and it's an Oban large Bijinga. We saw it on Show and Tell years ago. I don't remember when it is. Come on, 5, 4. What am I looking for here? We need to. That's the index. Yeah, I know. Each item in the data page for each item. Once you're looking at something, if you click the data, there's a link in there, a hot link that you can always link directly inside something. Yes, thank you, John. Okay, number five. Number five, number five. There's another naked woman here. My God, what are we doing? This is number five. It's Koryusai. It's the same series, of course. Chouju Asobi. Kitsune janai yo. Kitsune janai. John. Kitsune janai yo. But with these Japanese animals, one never knows. One never knows. This is not kitsune. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't believe this is a fox. I could be wrong. As you say, with Japanese animals, you don't know, but I don't think this is intended to be a fox. It's one of these animals that, it's a mix and match. It makes everybody happy. So what have we got so far? What's been public? Number one you saw. Number one is the... I've already forgotten. Oh yeah, the cranes. The cranes on the sunrise. Oh, also we decided on the printing. The printing. You remember I talked about the printing for number one, whether it was going to be a monotone or whether it was going to be multicolored? And we have two copies of the Hunch Duck, because the same thing's going to happen as the last one. We're going to have some embossing here. Oh, I do have, he left me. This is a bow of Koryusai, the original. And it's, okay, I'll tell you, this puts to rest what animal it is. It's from a Koryusai series on 12 animals of the zodiac. It's from the 12 zodiac animals, Koryusai's original series. And there is no kitsune, no fox in the 12 zodiac, but there is a dog. So it was intended to be a dog. The third print is not a monkey. There is monkeys coming up, but actually the monkeys are not scheduled yet. The third print is a falcon. The fourth print is, I don't know what they are. What's the Japanese word? Kiji. The fourth print is a pair. It's a pair of pheasants. It's the fourth print. This is the fifth one. There's a dragon coming. There's monkeys coming. There are no weasels. We're not doing the 12 zodiac animals. That's not our own series. Anyway. I need to trim this first before I can put it down. So this is not the 12 zodiac. Boar, snake, and dragon. No, there's no snake and there's no boar. There is a dragon in our series. This is not a zodiac series we're doing this year. Absolutely not a zodiac series. Now for wood, I went upstairs to the storeroom last night to choose this wood, and we've got a little bit of an embarrassment of riches at the moment. We've had real trouble for wood over the past few years. We've talked about this many times. But on one of the Yahoo auctions that I scored some months back now, this is, I don't know, a half a year back, we showed them on this show and tell here, I scored a bunch of old key blocks on Yahoo Auction, and they were just big enough for this. And we sliced them. I think we got 4 inner slices out of each one. There was 3 blocks in total, and I got 4 inner slices. And I used one for the first print in next year's series when I carved last month. And this is another one. And this is our code for this. 2020-01. Yes, it was almost a year ago we got it. I forget HMD, it's Aoyama-san's codes. I can't remember what he means by the codes. And this is now very, very, very hard. But the downside is we tried to get as many slices as we could out of that block, so they weren't very thick. So this is thin. This is thinner than normal. I've only got about 3 millimeters here. You can see our normal thickness is here. This one is thin. But for a key block, it doesn't matter so much. And we've chosen this one for a dense key block. There are no wide. That's the biggest wide open space here. So I don't need to go so far down. With the last image, there was some sky openings. I'd have to go down and hit the plywood. But with this one, even though it's only 3 millimeters, you probably won't be seeing the plywood. Which way up are we going to go here? That's a really hard spot. Let's do this. How do we decide which part of the print to build first? In the Japanese tradition, there's no choice. The key block must come first, because after the key block is carved, that's what gives us the positioning for the colors. So both for carving and for printing, the process begins with the key block, almost always. How many projects are worked on simultaneously here? I have no idea. Lots. We've got dozens of things going on. I'm now starting the carving of this one. Kawasaki-san is working on print number 3. Chon-san is doing the tracing for number 4. Lei-chan is test printing number 2. Ishikawa-san is printing a batch of number 1. Suga-san is starting tomorrow with a batch of JJ number 12, the 12th print Hoppidori in the Japan Journey series. Kubota-san, Kubota-san is doing JJ number 12. Suga-san is doing JJ number 2. Over at his home in Chiba, Kawai-san, he's doing a group of the Aki no Miyajima, the print from Tsuchiya Koitsu. We're using Adoi Hanga blocks for that set. Yamamoto-san, he's doing a batch of Great Waves this week over in his own home workshop. Am I forgetting anybody? Chiharu-san, what's she doing this week? She's doing, I don't remember. She's doing another print for us. So yeah, all of our people, almost everybody's working on a different project. We can't work on the same thing at the same time. Actually, that would be interesting. That would make a fun little video, I guess, at one point, wouldn't it? Just do a video. It would take quite a lot of work to make it, actually, though, but it would be a fun video to go around the whole gang and get a miniature 3, 4, 5 minutes of each person with whatever they're doing that particular day. One day, a day in the life of Moko Hankan. That would be fun. Not going to happen because I just don't have any time to do that, but yeah, that would be fun. A day in the life of Moko Hankan. When I was making the Poets series years ago, a TV company did that actually for me. As part of the 1-hour documentary of my work they did, she did that as a scene, a typical day for Dave. And they could do it because what they had done was while I was making the Poets series, for the last few months of it, they rented an apartment building. They rented an apartment unit in our building so that they could work early in the morning and late at night. And they did that one day. They shot a scene of me having a bath and going to bed, and then I had to pretend going to sleep while they had the camera there. Then they went outside and looked at the building and the moon above and all this kind of stuff. And they had rented an apartment in the same building to get all those shots. A day in the life of Moko Hankan. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah, Cameron's not here on the streams these days because he works from home. I know. We used to see him. He dropped in on the stream here at 8:30 or so on his way upstairs to go to work. Cameron works at home these days. Has done since, I know, February or March, I guess. He actually started working at home before the virus. I know they had a new baby. So Cameron's at home. We were joking about that. I guess, is he here this morning? Is Cameron on today? We were sort of joking about that, he and I and Aoyama-san, and like Dave, once Cameron started working at home, had a new baby, two kids now. The joke was that I'd get a phone call from him one day, when can I come back? When can I come back? Whatever, I don't know. This is a nice hard piece of wood. What happened to the old baby? Yeah. Be careful there, be careful. My daughter just had the same thing. She had a new baby. And the old baby sometimes has troubles with the new baby, of course. I've been through that too myself 40 years ago. Not quite 40 years ago. This is where Chon-san used too much glue when he pasted down the key block, the hunch there for number 2. Too much glue here is no good. So I moistened the wood first, so water went in first, so this glue doesn't actually get soaked too deeply into the wood. How much? I can't tell you in words. It's just right. Goldilocks. The Goldilocks amount of glue. Primary peel, 10 out of 10, right? Look at this. Look at this stuff. Look at this stuff. Come on, look at this. This is the best gampi in the world. This is the best gampi in the world. It does not get any better than that. Look at that. This is kind of a dark piece of wood. This is old wood. This is old wood, so this is dark. If this was a brand new piece of cherry, this would be a beautiful light brown. The lines would be standing totally bright. But because the wood's so old, it is still a bit, difficult. So what we will do, you know how we do this. A touch of oil. Just do one sample corner here for a second. A touch of oil. And that brings it absolutely, totally transparent. The world's absolute best hunch-to technique. None better. People keep writing us emails. Dave, we can do it. We can transfer with wintergreen oil, or we can do it with this, or tracing paper. Give me a break. There's nothing like this. Sales pitch, the Gumpy, it's in our shop. And I've still got to do this. We've got to do it again, you know. Look at this. Can we play with this? Look. Where I started to peel it off. Look at this, look at this, look at this. It's not glued down, so I can't really do it. But you can see what's happening. Look. There's more layers here. There's more layers. There's at least 3 layers in this Gumpy. I guess not at least 3. There is 3 layers in this Gumpy. The guy has rocked it, and then dipped and rocked again, and dipped and rocked again. You could do this again. We could straighten this out, paste it on a piece of wood, photocopy it, paste it down, and peel it off again. Look at that. 2 layers. All that's left is to carve it. How does a guy get this excited about a thing he's been doing for 40 years? This is an interesting question, and why are you asking it? And I'm not trying to be sarcastic here. Why are you asking it? Don't you like what you're doing? I don't know. There's no easy answer here. I like what I'm doing. There's nothing else to say. I like what I'm doing. The end result, like, it's so much fun, you know, when we get these prints, they're so beautiful. Maybe if you ask that question, you perhaps haven't seen how beautiful some of the prints are. Go to the collection, browse around and see how beautiful they are. There's just, the answers don't stop. I got some prints in the show and tell to show you today. They were made before I was born. Somebody made them, and the beauty is left over. And 100 years after he made it, somebody's going to sit there and enjoy this. I mean, who gets this kind of pleasure out of their work? Not to be negative about anybody else, but somebody in an office job sitting there doing something, or they work for Toyota. The cars are nice, people use the cars, but the person sitting in the middle of an office job doing the back room, they don't see their work in the final result. Not only do I see my work in the final result, but every single stroke, every single thing I do is going to be visible in the final result. I can't hide anywhere. It's just too much fun. Just too much fun. I'm sorry. Okay, if you're skilled, I mean, you don't need to think about the same skill set. You can't make things with your hands, whatever. I don't know what you can do. I can't make a bland statement. Everybody has something in them. Go and find it. You know, I don't know. Maybe there's people that can't do anything. I don't know. It took me a long time to find this. I made my first print when I was 30, 29 the next months and 30. That's when I first tried making woodblock prints. I did this and did that and did this and did that. Fooled around with a bunch of different things first. So maybe that's a recipe. Try lots of different stuff when you're young so you have a much better chance of finding something interesting. I don't know. I have no recipe for life. I don't know. I do and I don't. I don't know. That's something else I meant to ask the chat one day, you know. YouTube videos. Now, we've been making YouTube videos about printmaking, but in the middle of there's a few videos about, you know, I ramble about the stories about what I used to do and stuff. And those are the most popular videos on the channel. So the idea came up, I think we've talked a bit about this before. The idea came up a year or so ago that Dave could make a video not about printmaking at all, but just about, like you asked me this question, how are you enjoying life or stuff like this. Dave could make a video about that, answering that kind of question. And it's been bubbling in my mind now for a long time. And actually, since the shop has been closed and not having print parties, I have had time in the evenings. And I have prepared. I started typing some ideas down. What would I want to say if I was going to talk about this kind of a topic? One thing led to the next, and one thing led to the next. And over the months, it has actually gelled together. And I now have on my desk upstairs a kind of a script. It's not a script in the I will now read this from the teleprompter, but it's a script about what would you want to say and what would you want to talk about if you were trying to explain to somebody these kind of things. And I've been sitting and looking at that thing and saying, should I actually do this? Should I make this kind of video? No prints to show. Just sit there, look at the camera and say, hi, here's Dave. And he's going to tell you the meaning of life. Whatever. Do I have the balls to try this? I don't know. But it's all ready. It's all ready and sketched out. And I'm just trying to decide whether I should do it or not. I did it. I tried it as a test run. This is a month or so ago. I tried it as a test run. I got the little shuffle index cards. They're, ideas on what you would say, what you do next, what you say next. I put the index cards on the desk, and just for fun, I put the Zoom recorder on and did, with no video, I did a test run of what would you actually say on this. And as usual, it got out of control, and it was 55 minutes long. 55 minutes, and that's what made me start to back away from this. Do I really have the balls to do that? To sit, turn the camera on, speak for 55 minutes with no B-roll, no woodblock prints, no nothing, and explain the meaning of life? Do I have that much? Do I have the balls to do that? I don't know. So it's sitting there right now, just sitting there. As always here, we're not going to start with something dangerous. We're not going to start with the dog's face or something. We're going to start with the leaf. You get back in shape. I haven't been carving for weeks, so. Oh, how's our time? Show and tell time? Are we okay? Oh, look at that. It's show and tell time. Oh, my mother's here, is she? Hello, hello, hello. My mother is asking me, tell me the meaning of life. I gotta say though, the reason this topic came up, is because an experience I had in Vancouver. This goes back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, I don't know. I'm at my daughter's place. Before she had kids, my daughter and her husband. And they invited me for dinner, whatever. I'm at their place having dinner. I'm in Vancouver for a couple of weeks. And I was over at my daughter's place, and we had a bottle of wine on the table and whatever, and the conversation goes back and forth, and this topic came up. I don't remember, they didn't ask me, Dave, what's the meaning of life, or something, it came up. And we're chatting, and I don't remember what I said, but it turned out really well, and I walked away from there that night to go back to stay at my mother's place for sleeping, and I thought, that's it, I do actually have this figured out. And it was remembering that conversation that made me think I should actually try doing this, 55 minutes. How you doing, Mom? How you doing? It's show and tell time, isn't it? Whatever. I'm laughing too much. I can't carve. Anyway, there we are. We're started. We're up and running. This is the next. This is number 4. This is now what you will see over the streams over the next few weeks. What you're going to see now is mainly this carving job. Those of you who are new here, this is the kind of work you will be seeing here now for the next few weeks during this stream time. It'll be interrupted by other work, but it'll be mostly now carving on this block. Chat, chat, chat. Okay, I will try and read this at lunchtime today. My mother, the one is the lady who is called It's Hopeless. And that's not her philosophy of life, by the way. The reason my mother has the handle name It's Hopeless is she was trying to log in on Twitch and set up an account on Twitch. And I guess it didn't work well, and it didn't work well, and it didn't work well. And at some point, she just typed, it's good she didn't put an F word in there or something. She typed, this is hopeless, and that became her login name. A good username. So. Okay, show and tell. Where is it? I got 2 boxes here. This is stuff that arrived last week. These you've seen. We showed those last week, but last time. This is stuff that arrived last week. This was a little auction from last week, and I had to fight for this one. This was not free. Sometimes I tell you these stories that blah, blah, blah came up in auction and nobody was interested. Japan is not interested in stuff these days, blah, 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 blah. This one I had to fight for. This one is a interesting item. Lots of people like to collect these here in Japan. So these are not free for the taking. There were millions of these made in the pre-war period, but they are still a little bit collectible. And not by people who are interested in woodblock printmaking. The reason I would like to see these is because they are made from woodblock prints. I don't collect like stamps these days or stuff like this, like I used to when I was a kid. So for me, the interest is woodblock prints. But this particular item is of interest to other people who are collecting Taisho era objects. These are more today of the what we call the pochi bukuro. It's the same word. Pochi is pouch, something to put things inside, and bukuro is fukuro, envelope. So these are, we have here a batch. There is 72 small ones here, and there are 20 here. And these came to me last week. These are not matchbox prints. These are, did I glow off? Come on, do your light thing. This camera thinks it's too dark, so it brightens up too much here. Okay, for those of you who don't know, these are paper envelopes back in pre-war Japan. Well, in Japan period, sometimes when you're formally giving money to somebody, you can't give the money directly. You need to have an envelope to put things in. So these were envelopes that were available for sale in the stationery store. You know, you go to a stationery store now to buy Christmas cards, whatever. In Japan, in stationery stores, they still have envelopes. There are special envelopes for weddings, for funerals, for general use, for whatever. Nowadays, they're of course all commercially printed. These are woodblock prints. And what they would have done, the company making these makes a woodblock print of about this size. The middle of it is the image, and once it's done, the staff folds it over, glues it together to make an envelope. And they were sold in packs in stationery stores. You'd get a pack of 5, pack of 3, pack of 10, pack of 20. And they're all made from woodblock prints. Now some of the ones in this particular group, they seem a little bit, there's a stain, I think, from some previous packaging. Now the first group I'm going to show you here, these are much more colorful. The first group here are really, I don't know, what's the word? Shibui? Look at this, you can barely even see. That's actually printed. And maybe this one would have been for sale at a stationery shop down in Nara, perhaps, the Nara Deer Park or whatever. And these date from, I can't give you a date on them, but they are pre-war for sure. This is early Showa or Taisho. So these would be 1930s, 1920s, I don't know. And they were made, for sure, the printing style tells me they were made in a Kyoto workshop, because most of the pigments here are opaque, thick pigments. The white you see here is not printed, it's the, hang on a sec. Yeah, it's paper white showing through, but it's an opaque blue pigment. And as with any stuff like this, when you go to the stationery store now to buy a birthday card for your dad, whatever, there's themes, you know, and people would pick, so the company's making them, they don't need to make, they just need a variety. The company making these things just has to make a ton of variety, and then the consumers themselves will pick and choose. One lady would like this one, the next lady would like something else, and everything has some meaning for somebody else. The pattern here, this is not a random pattern. These are three of the Genji Mon, the design patterns that indicate chapters of the old Tale of Genji. So the lady who would have purchased this pack for her stuff, she would have known the literary meaning behind these things. Some are just simply pure geometry. This is the famous, what's it called? Sayagata, the Sayagata pattern. We used this on one of our Ukiyo-e Heroes prints a long time ago, the print of Kirby. We used this pattern, Jed used this pattern on one of the kimonos there, and I got crap from it. People said, why are you using Nazi symbols on your woodblock prints? Because buried in this thing, you could conceive of this as a swastika. This pattern goes back way, way, way before our German friends borrowed it for that use. It's called, I think it's Sayagata or Sasagata. Sayagata. I can't remember exactly, I'm sorry. How do I spell it? I said, I can't remember the name. It's, if you check one of those two words, Sayagata or Sasagata, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Question, who would be making these? Oh, here it is. There's a bad word here, but I'll allow this because this is part of the conversation. Allow the comment here. So, Sayagata, somebody's got it. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Good, good, good. Who would be making these apprentices? I don't know. I know these would be made in a workshop that was professionally dedicated to doing this. It would be that would be their job, making envelopes. And it was quick, fast work. It's not anywhere near as detailed work as making like the octopus print we just saw. But they were workshops that were. Look at this. I don't like this at all. It's sort of a modernistic feeling. Flowers. Anyway, no big deal. These are not really super attractive, I think. This is sort of middle range stuff. But there they are. But this group is fun. These are fun. This would have been a more expensive project. These are the same things. These are the casual little envelopes for paying money. When you're going to pay money to your calligraphy teacher, you put the money in a little envelope like this. Now, how are we going to see these? There's 72 of these things in this batch. These are fun. These are really, really beautifully, nicely made. Can we see the embossing on here? I don't know how to get the camera to work. Look at this. You can see the white area in the middle. The paper has an embossing. The red is printed, and the white is leftover paper. And they're just so tasty. They're just so tasty. And there's you name it, there's a total random range of seasons and styles and whatever. That's calligraphy. This is the character Kotobuki. And then it's done in this with a pattern built in behind it. So this is a celebration. Maybe you would give this to your somebody has graduated from college, you'll give them a little present for it. It would go inside an envelope like this. Or maybe they're opening a new business, celebration or something like this. And again, the company making them would just make all different kinds. The designers would just sit there slapping out designs. The carvers and printers would just get busy making them, and they would run on racks in the stationery store. And they didn't sell them one by one. They were in packs. Packs of 3, 10, 12, 20. A bit of them I had to read this. I'm not sure. My guess is a smidgen of poetry. I don't know. And they just go on and on and on. An axe, that would be Kintaro, kana? Give somebody a gift of money with an axe blade. What's that a hint of? I don't know. This is a bit, I wouldn't think this is quite so successful, but there it is. A little Chinese landscape. They're envelopes, they have a flap on the back. And these have been in a collection, because some of them, I don't know if you can see it, it's shiny. See, there's glue on the back. There's glue on the back of these. At some point, they've been pasted into an album. So somebody has collected these. So, severance pay. I have no idea. All I can guess, why would there be an axe there? Whenever we see an axe in ukiyo-e type stuff, it's usually Kintaro, the mountain boy, going through the mountains and doing this and that. Is that an axe? I think it's an axe to show. An axe and flames. There's a nuance here. I don't know. No idea what it is. No idea. Severance pay. For the hairdresser. At some point, actually, it just gets to be too much. If I had just one of these, then you would study it and look at it and enjoy it and drink it in, and it would be really enjoyable. But when you've got so many that you don't even know what you've got anymore, I don't know. So I have a mixed feeling with these. The difference between accumulating or collecting or researching, the things get sort of blurred. So we are doing good research on some of our stuff here. And we are, showing and exposing the collection. But I have to be aware that some of it, too, is actually just simply accumulating. We're just gathering this stuff and trying to figure out what it is later on. This one is interesting. I think this is a mistake. I don't know here, but I'm guessing. What's the two blobs here? They mean nothing, right? And I think this missed a stage in printing. If we go back to find if I find one with a character, I probably don't have one here. There was a style of producing things where you had a character on Senchafta and it was outlined in a white line. So I think there are two characters missing here. The kanji character would have been printed in the middle in black. And simply this got overlooked. I can't see any other reason for such a strange shaped blob. But maybe just that's my lack of imagination. This one too is a bit strange. The building we're looking at, the crisscross plaster and the white plaster up top, this is a kura, storehouse. This is a depiction of a storehouse where the family treasures, the scrolls and stuff like that, would have been stored. Why do we have an image of a storehouse wall with what looks like a rope ladder against it? The thieves have been in there? I have no idea what they're trying to say here. What's the story here? I really don't know. There's some reason for this. This is not just random. A storehouse wall, a treasure house wall, with clearly a ladder up to the roof. An old coin, of course. Depiction of an old coin. Generic cherry blossom with a lantern. These are all carved and printed. Carved and printed. We have the character for sa, and again sa, and we have ra and u. Sa ra u ra sa, sarao, sarao. I don't know. And there's endless nuance here. I do not understand most of what I'm seeing. There's endless nuance and meaning. This is a rolled up pattern. There will be a name for this pattern. It will have some meaning. What's this? Oh, I get it. Got it? Do you understand this one? It's a guy on a raft, right? It's an ikada. These are rafts with a boatman. It's just a generic design. You tell me. I'm stuck on this one. No idea. Absolutely no idea what this represents. So let's talk about modernism. The era here, this is Taisho. Now, this is the, in the West, we're in the Art Nouveau, Art Deco type era. This is 1920s, 1930s into 1940s. So there's an influence, of course, of that kind of design in many of these. There's nothing really ukiyo-e about a lot of these. This is characters. It's no and shi, and noshi. Noshi is, you get a noshi bukuro for wrapping gifts and putting presents in. Oh, this is New Year's. This is a shuttlecock. The kind of badminton type game. Not going to focus. And on and on and on they go. So we have now, I don't quite know how many of these we have in our collection. I don't know. But this is a specifically nice group, and they all come out the same size. So these are going to go into the stack for photography. We will be shooting these and putting them up so they can be shared. This also is the same. This is noshi, the same thing. No followed by what was a stylized shi. Noshi bukuro. Oh, here's a classic. Little snowy temple in Kyoto. They're just so cool, just so cute, so nice, And some of them are really, really tasteful, Can you imagine receiving, your monthly fee for your lessons in an envelope like this, you know. This culture, of course, now is completely gone in Japan. There's nobody is doing this. Except, again, I think if you're in Kyoto and you have a tea ceremony teacher, you will pay her this way still. But in general society now, this is history. This is gone. Can't read that. What is that? That's a sickle, or is it a kanji? I don't know. Can't read that one. I'm sorry. Anyway, we're at our time. Let's go. Let's wrap this up. These will be all online at some point, so you can see them. For those of you who are new here, to see more things like this online on your own time, go to the Mokuhankan collection. That's where these things are all ending up online. We have some extremely high-resolution photographs of all this sort of stuff. There are now nearly 1,000 different prints on the collection online. And we have probably about 4,000, so there's maybe about 3,000 still to go, and the collection is growing all the time. So please, go over there, mokuhankan.com. John's linked it again. Browse around there. More items like this. Okay, so fun question. Someone said, how do you do registration? They're not printed in this shape. If you imagine, if you take the glue off here, actually I have some upstairs not glued. If you take the glue off here, it's a piece of paper, it's larger, and the middle of it is the only area that was printed. So the registration was at the corner. The block would have been, whatever, it would have been a wood block like this with a printed part just in the middle. The paper would have gone in the registration marks at the corner. And then once it's done, of course, then they come along and you fold in the two flaps and you fold the bottom and you fold the bottom. There would be a cutting pattern as well. We've got some upstairs that are uncut and unfolded. I should show you some of those later if I remember. Somebody could drop me an email. I'll remember to do that. So I've got some uncut pochibukuro, and you can see how they're made. But yes, they're made as a multicolored print with the registration marks, and then after they're printed, they are then folded and glued up, of course. Okay, I am out of here. I'll be back here Saturday morning, and you know what I'll be doing. I'll be carving on that dog, kitsune, whatever it is. And just in time, because they're starting up next door. Thanks, guys. Bit of a scrappy stream today. Can't be helped. See you next Saturday. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.